Shadowy forces are on the move. Conspiracies are unfolding at every turn. Behind every targeted assassination lies a plot of staggering magnitude. And this time, the spark was lit when North and South Korea, in an effort to ease external pressure, made the shocking decision to peacefully reunify, bringing long-sought stability to the Korean peninsula. The world was stunned. Even the citizens of both Koreas found it hard to believe. In South Korea, the announcement split the population into two camps, one in favor of reunification, the other birthing a radical anti-unification movement. As unification efforts gained momentum, the opposition grew increasingly extreme. Under the guise of patriotic dissent, anti-unification groups rallied the public, openly defying the interim government and dragging it into a political stalemate. Protesters filled the streets, but among them lurked violent agitators. They hurled Molotov cocktails, shouting anti-unification slogans while using public outrage as a shield for chaos. The police were paralyzed, unwilling to use force, lest they harm innocent civilians swept up in the unrest. Even when protest lines were breached, officers could do little but regroup and hold the line. But the radicals hiding in the crowd grew restless. Convinced the police wouldn't retaliate, anti-unification extremists launched an all-out assault. Caught off guard by the indiscriminate attacks, law enforcement finally had justification to fight back. As tear gas flooded the air, the rioters spotted a strange vehicle pulling up and instantly sensed danger. They scattered, retreating to their base. Hot on their heels was a special ops unit. The commander issued a clear order to the team: "This ends tonight. The extremists must be wiped out." Drones tracked the rioters' escape route. Once they reached their hideout, the tactical team launched a swift, surprise assault. The raid shattered the hideout. Extremists fled in panic as SWAT officers tore through their stronghold, destroying everything in sight. But those trying to escape with sensitive materials suddenly froze. Something was approaching. Out of the shadows emerged a combat unit with glowing red eyes, clad in full-body armor, shields and weapons at the ready, an unstoppable force, built for both attack and defense. The extremists scrambled to return fire after taking a barrage of rubber bullets, but it was like throwing eggs at a tank. The long-planned police purge operation ended in disaster. During the sweep, a SWAT officer patrolling the perimeter stumbled upon a girl in red completely by chance, trapped with no way out. She pulled a fuse from her bag. The officers pleaded with her to stop, but she had already made peace with death. Because of Officer Junkyouong's moment of hesitation, both he and his teammate were injured. Headlines slammed the police's elite wolf unit, accusing them of brutal force that led to the death of an innocent girl. Outraged and misled, the public erupted in condemnation, calling for the disbandment of the elite anti-terror unit embedded within the national SWAT structure. Their fury stemmed from a haunting tragedy during the unit's first year. In a mission to eliminate an anti-unification cell, the team stormed a hideout relying solely on thermal imaging, without confirming identities. They opened fire on every moving heat source. Only after the shooting stopped when the masks came off did they realize the horrifying mistake. They had killed a group of schoolgirls in uniform, innocents manipulated by the anti-unification cult. The psychological toll on the team was devastating. Enemy media seized the moment, painting the Wolf unit as soulless killers who murdered without restraint. To shield the team physically and emotionally, the police responded by upgrading their armor. From then on, Wolf unit operators wore full body suits, concealing their faces and identities, operating strictly in the shadows. The goal: to suppress emotion, eliminate hesitation, and create warriors who obeyed orders without question. They were equipped with next-gen composite armor, exoskeletons, non-lethal weapons, and man-portable heavy guns. Cold, efficient, and terrifying, the public dubbed them the Human Wolves. But after the most recent incident, mounting public pressure forced the Wolf unit to stand down. Fortunately, the newly elected president stood by them. Commander Jang JingT wasn't worried about disbandment, but the National Security Bureau, NSB, which clashed with the president's office, launched an immediate investigation. Leading it was none other than a former Wolf unit member, Sang-woo. Sang-woo had been badly injured during the schoolgirl massacre. After leaving the unit, he joined the NSB, now tasked with dismantling the very team he once called family. Understanding Junkyouong's pain after the latest tragedy, Sang-woo handed him the red-clad girl's file, an act of empathy, or perhaps something more. In the file, Junkyouong learned the truth. The girl had lost both parents, had been indoctrinated by the Anti-Unification cult, and her only surviving family was an older sister. Sang-woo suggested Junkyouong deliver the girl's belongings to her sister, a final gesture of closure. He found her, Yunhi, a quietly beautiful woman whose serene presence struck Junkyouong like lightning. To him, she was like a lotus in the mud, untouched by filth, radiating purity. During their conversation, Yunhi admitted she had lost contact with her sister after she joined the cult. She never expected their next reunion would be through death, yet she remained calm. The living still have to keep on living. In those brief moments together, Junkyouong found himself slowly falling for her gentle, graceful charm. But just as he was leaving, the truth unraveled. Yunhi's real identity was exposed. She was also a member of the Anti-Unification resistance. Worse, she was being manipulated by Sang-woo to get close to Junkyouong. Sang-woo's plan? To crack the emotional armor of the Wolf unit from within, using Yunhi's allure to break Junkyouong's resolve. But the deeper secret was even more shocking. The true financial backer of the Anti-Unification cult was a senior figure inside the National Security Bureau itself. To protect the NSB's hidden interests, Sang-woo had long used Yunhi as an assassin, eliminating threats within and outside the agency. Now, the NSB planned to use her one last time to bring down the president's loyal Wolf unit from the inside. Yunhi arranged to meet Junkyouong at the old control tower. She quietly slipped into the restroom, where she discreetly retrieved a hidden handgun. Moments later, with a calm smile, she approached him, but instead of aiming it at him, she deliberately dropped the gun at his feet, just enough to stage the illusion of a terrorist attack. Sang-woo's ambush team would immediately storm in, pretending to contain the threat while actually creating chaos and confusion. The goal? To frame Junkyouong and dismantle the Wolf unit once and for all. But just as the plan was set in motion, a woman burst onto the scene, Yunhi's friend. She deliberately pulled Yunhi away, derailing the operation orchestrated by the NSB.
아무도 믿지 마. 난 나대로 잘 살아남을게. 너도 몸 조심해.
Yunhi stood there in shock, trying to process what was happening until an explosion ripped through the building, but Junkyouong had already moved. As Yunhi tried to flee the growing chaos, NSB operatives moved to silence her permanently, but at the last moment, Junkyouong appeared just in time to stop the would-be assassin. Down below, Commander Jang JingT sensed something was wrong. He rushed to the scene in a panic, only to find that the situation upstairs had already spiraled out of control. The NSB tried to pin the entire incident on Junkyouong, but they miscalculated. He had seen it coming. When regular agents failed to take him down, the NSB unleashed their secret weapon, an assault drone. It swooped in, relentlessly targeting him. Nothing could withstand the sheer impact. It was a terrifying display of mechanized precision, but no machine could outmatch human instinct and will. By the time reinforcements arrived, Junkyouong had already rigged a fire hose around his waist, grabbed Yunhi, and leapt from the tower to escape. Now outside the kill zone, he took her to an abandoned factory where he'd stashed a secure line. On the other end of the call? Commander Jang JingT. Turns out, this had all been part of a much bigger plan. Jang had seen through the NSB's schemes long ago. He'd turned the tables, using Junkyouong as bait to lure them out. That random woman who disrupted the tower ambush? She was a detained associate of Yunhi, working with Jang to sabotage the NSB's operation from the inside. Now it was time to smoke out the real enemy. Jang had secretly activated a tracking signal on Yunhi, knowing the NSB would scramble to capture her again. As expected, they mobilized their elite strike team, but what they didn't know was that the Wolf unit had already moved. Using a presidential order to sweep anti-unification threats, the Wolf unit surrounded the NSB headquarters under full legal cover. Unaware of the trap, Sang-woo arrived with his team, ready to hunt Junkyouong, but waiting in the shadows was something far more dangerous: the Ghost Squad. It was at that moment Yunhi finally realized the truth. She had been turned into bait by Jang JingT. And Junkyouong? He wasn't just a member of the Wolf Unit, he was the leader of its most elite force, the Ghost Squad. And when a Ghost Squad soldier suits up, armor on, mask down, it means one thing. The killing has begun. The NSB's so-called Vanguard hit team was wiped out in seconds. By the time the Special Operations Group arrived, all that remained were cold, lifeless bodies, cocky and overconfident. The Special Ops agents dismissed the massacre, blaming it on their rookie squad's incompetence, so they decided to take matters into their own hands. They fired an RPG straight at the ghosts, but to their horror, the shot barely scratched them. Panic set in. Trying a new tactic, they set up camp and laid a trap using motion sensors, hoping to catch the ghosts off guard. What they didn't know: Ghost Squad armor came equipped with thermal vision, as if they had wall hacks enabled. There was no hiding. Hearing movement, the remaining agents deployed directional explosives to lure the ghosts and convinced nothing could survive the blast. But the ghosts had already detected the trap. Wearing massive armor, they moved with lightning speed, dodging the explosion with impossible agility. When the smoke cleared, they stood unscathed. One desperate team tried to ensnare a ghost with reinforced armor-piercing grapples. But the ghost severed the steel wire mid-charge, using it to sling forward, impaling his foot on impact but continuing to fight like a rabid animal. Agents who managed to escape tried to hide, only to realize too late they'd been herded like cattle into a kill box. Meanwhile, Sang-woo caught sight of the pocket watch Yunhi wore and everything clicked. He had been played. All this time, the ghosts had manipulated him. One of his wounded men staggered in, babbling hopelessly. That was the breaking point. Sang-woo snapped. He killed his comrade on the spot, then charged out to face the ghosts alone. But when it came to equipment, strength, and training, they were in different universes. Bleeding and desperate, Sang-woo tried to run, but he took a wrong turn and found himself in a dead end. Cornered, he still tried to fight back, but all he did was enrage the beast. The moment Junkyouong removed his helmet and saw the face of his former comrade, lifeless at his feet, his heart twisted with grief and bitterness. But as a ghost, those emotions had no place. In their world, there is only the mission, only obedience. After the dust settled, the internal coup ended in defeat. The president emerged victorious and the Wolf Unit became the sharpest blade in his arsenal. End of film.